Good morning, and welcome to Morning Gospel Fuel with Mr. G. It is Wednesday, August 19th, the feast day of Saint John Eudes, and he is the patron saint of missionaries as well as the Order of Our Lady of Charity. Today's Gospel is from Matthew chapter 20, verses 1 through 16. Let's begin in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. The kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out at dawn to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with them for the usual daily wage, he sent them into his vineyard. Going out about 9 o'clock, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and he said to them, "You too go into my vineyard, and I will give you what is just." So they went off, and he went out again around noon and around 3 o'clock, and did likewise. Going out about 5 o'clock, he found others standing around and said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They answered, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You too go into my vineyard." When it was evening, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." When those who had started about 5 o'clock came, each received the usual daily wage. So when the first came, they thought that they would receive more, but each of them also got the usual wage. And on receiving it, they grumbled against the landowner, saying, "These last ones worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us, who bore the day's burden and the heat." He said to one of them in reply, "My friend, I am not cheating you. Did you not agree with me for the usual daily wage? Take what is yours and go. What if I wish to give this last one the same as you? Or am I not free to do as I wish with my own money? Are you envious because I am generous? Thus the last will be first, and the first will be last." Okay, so we've got Jesus speaking another parable. We've got the workers in the vineyard today in Matthew's gospel, and um, we see the workers in the vineyard, where we have the regular workers that start there right at dawn at the beginning of the day. And then we've got other people, other workers that are just standing idle, right? So, which I think is good to take note of. Jesus does not want us to be idle. He wants us to labor. He wants us to do good for others. He wants us to provide. He doesn't want us to just be lazy and fall into sloth. So either way, um, notice how often he does not want us to be idle. So he keeps taking these workers who are idle and just putting them to work, putting them in this vineyard, within this parable. So he's got people that are working right at dawn. He's got others that are coming um, at 9 o'clock, at noon, 3 o'clock, even at 5 o'clock, where they only have an hour left of work to do, but they work for an hour from 5 to 6. And then what happens? Whenever it gets to be time for the landowner to pay them, he pays them all in reverse order. So he says, "Summon the laborers and give them their pay, beginning with the last and ending with the first." Now he does this for the sole purpose to show how the first would know what the last was given. So he wants everybody to see, even those that started at dawn, he wants them to see how much the person that started at 5 p.m., how much they got paid. Because he's testing them, and he wants to see their reaction, and they get a very human, common reaction. I feel like I would react the same way as what a lot of these people are, and that's the challenge for me as I read through this, thinking that I would be the one that would fall into envy and jealousy and be like, "Wait, that's not fair. I worked all day from dawn to dusk, and this guy only worked for an hour, and he's getting paid the same." But then notice how Jesus, within the parable, explains what's going on. It says towards the very end that he's free to do as he wishes with his own money, and he kept his end of the bargain, paying me my daily wage. So I'm still getting what I would have otherwise. But he says, "Are you envious because I am generous?" Because he's paying them out of generosity. It says, the footnote here, it says the owner's conduct involves no violation of justice, and that all the workers receive the same wage is due only to his generosity to the latest arrivals. The resentment of the first comes from envy. So that's the whole point of this parable, and also the kingdom of heaven. You see a parable like this, and it can relate to the kingdom of heaven, where it shouldn't matter if you become a Christian and you have a strong faith life, where suddenly, it shouldn't matter if you grow in your faith and find Christ, so to speak, at 20 years old or 30 years old, as much as what it does whenever you're 50, 60, 70, because we're all going to the same place. And I think that's what Jesus is trying to reveal within this parable. So within all that, the challenge is, don't fall into the trap of comparison, because comparison can oftentimes result in negative feelings of jealousy, envy, greed, self-pity, or even cause you to think less of yourself. So that's the challenge, is not to do that, and to focus solely on the joys of the present moment. Then you should be good. So there's a challenge for me and for you today. Have a great Wednesday, and God bless. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen.